The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Vibe of the Tribe, where energy meets wisdom, giving you something to think about. I'm your host, TEE, aka Church Girl, and you are in for a treat today. But first, I'd like to acknowledge my co-host in their absence. We have Eric Jones, aka Elder Jones, our high-valued man. We also have Kimberly West Williams, a.k.a. Kimmy Fresh, my kindred, and the youngin' Christian. I'd like to give a personal thank you to you for collaborating with me to bring this vision of Vibe of the Tribe to pass. This is our final podcast. Boo. Aww. But I plan to continue serving the community in another capacity, so please stay tuned. You have the distinct privilege to visit any and all of our previous podcasts aired this year. Please like our page, like Vibe of the Tribe. Okay, please like our page and comment if you like on this live podcast. And then share the videos. share. Our finale today is themed hashtag 2020 Vision. Last month, I talked about vision and decided to unpack it a little more with a new vibe and fresh perspective. Okay. I have the la creme today. And I have known them for more than 35 years.
We met in preschool.
Exactly. We were babies. Nate, my brother from another mother. And we grew up in the community together right here in the Crenshaw area. Our grandmothers lived in the same area. He knows everyone in my family after being my cousin's neighbor for many, many years. We were in dance class together. Yeah, that's my secret. And student body leadership? Was it student body leadership?
I think I was the first class president that got impeached.
You know what? I can't.
It wasn't technically
right now.
impeached. We're going through that. We're going through that. Yeah. I became ineligible. My grades dropped.
Oh, okay.
And they removed me. The teachers did it, not the students.
That is an impeachment.
That is an impeachment.
That is an impeachment.
Yeah, some people didn't let me forget
you were
that.
impeached.
Right.
And removed from office.
Yeah. And even worked out. We both worked out at 24 Hour Fitness. And most recently, we experienced an incredible Bible study at Nate's home. Nate is a man of God, minister of the gospel across the globe, a missionary, longtime husband of the beautiful Kiana Tavasti, a devoted father, owner, CEO of his own catering company, and I have had his homemade ice cream, Z-Bomb, and a filmmaker. Give it up for Nate. Wow.
I never had Nate's ice cream.
You want to add anything?
You should talk about me.
Live up to it. Nate.
Right.
That's a lot.
The amazing Lila Mays. Did you hear that? Amazing. A play on words. Was one of my childhood best friends. Starting in middle school, we were also in dance together. You know, that was like one of the highlights of my childhood, so I keep bringing up the whole dance thing. And we were in ministry at West Angeles Church of God in Christ together. Nate also attended West Day with us. She was my inspiration for writing my self-published debut, Broken Baby Doll. And that's a pretty incredible thing because I could still be silently suffering, smothering in my truth, and stifling my own growth and freedom. She is my sis star, S-T-A-R, okay? On top of being an inspiration to others, Lila is a leader in event management, artist relations, and administrator. We're talking about a leader administrator of DGA's Assistant Director Training Program. That's a big deal. Okay, she's also a blogger, owner, and CEO of Curvy Girls and Curls. Please go to the website and make purchases. Okay? Okay. And to me, she is the essence of Black Girl Magic.
Thank you.
Give it up for Lila. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to start off. Our hashtag is 2020 Vision. In the fewest amount of words, what's your vision for 2020?
In the fewest amount is to walk in the manifestation of freedom.
Ooh.
And freedom in a lot of areas. But it's kind of hard to go into that without kind of giving some background on what 2019 meant for me.
Okay. So speak on it.
Because when I got this from the book of Genesis, when God told Abraham that your children will be taken into a foreign land and held captive for 400 years. And we know that that was for them at a different time and place, but I always cut and pasted it and applied it to the Black struggle in America.
Okay. All right.
First indentured slave came into America in 1619. So add 400 years to that becomes 2019. And I used to always speak on that way before, like in the early of the millennium, like 2001, 2002, would always speak that 2019 can be a year of freedom. And not just physical oppression, but spiritual oppression. Basically, anything that you're oppressed by, this is an opportunity to walk into. You can claim that same claim for yourself and walk into a freedom. And that could be freedom from depression, drug addiction, poverty, anything, in addition to any type of physical oppression. So 2019 was a year that I always said, this is the year I'm breaking free of this, that, and this and that. So now 2020 is the time to walk it out.
Man,
Okay.
I'm vibing. Are you guys vibing?
Yeah, vibing.
Ooh, what about you, Lila? What's your vision for
That's so
2020?
interesting because I posted something on one of my platforms today. What is your word for 2020? So your word for 2020 is freedom.
See? That's something.
Man, that's it.
My word, I posted a few. I posted abundance, surrender, intentionality. My word for 2020 is surrender. So for me, 2019 was a year of transformation.
Okay.
And I had to trust the process. Transformation is not a destination.
Yes,
Right? It is a
yes.
continuous journey.
Yes.
I am committed to surrendering to every part of that process. So I am in the process of transformation, and I have tools that I get to employ, but I get to surrender to whatever the outcome is. I'm not attached.
Oh, that's so good. I love the ending of that. I'm not attached. Right. She's open. And what's big about that, I mean, say that one more time for the last part of the of the statement that you just made. What's your vision for 2020?
I'm surrendering to the process, but I'm not attached.
It's not surrendered, but not attached. And that you have to be vulnerable to do that. You have to be malleable. You got to be able to change. You got to be able to move with the situation. Right. Adaptability is important. Yeah. And prioritizing is a big deal when it comes to that. And let me just say this. It's important for each of us to have a vision for ourselves. Without the vision,
people perish.
The people perish.
And let me be clear. My saying I'm not attached to the outcome doesn't mean that I don't have an expected end.
Oh, of course. Right? Of course. Yeah.
But I'm not attached to
I'm not fixated.
Yes.
I'm not fixated.
Because it may take on it may go down, we may go down another road than what I think is supposed, it may look differently than what I think it's supposed to look like. Yeah. I'm not attached to the surrender. I'm not attached to the journey.
Yes.
So
totally
you can enjoy it, you can embrace the journey no matter which way it takes.
And surrendering that way is not, it's painful.
Is it?
Yes. Okay. Change is not a pleasant experience always.
Okay. I agree.
And that level of vulnerability is scary. It's frightening because, I mean, you don't have to be scared, but not knowing, we like to strategically plan. We like to know what our next move is. We always like to have a fallback, a plan B, but to be open to the process of if plan B doesn't go, there is another way. There is another option. There's other opportunities.
And ain't that faith?
Man.
Right.
Man.
That's what faith is.
Yeah, that's what it is. So This podcast was inspired by T.D. Jakes' YouTube sermon, and it was entitled Importance. But there was one quote that stuck out to me that I want to expound on. I can tell how healthy you are inwardly by your outlook. So, like meeting somebody and engaging them. They say you usually get to know a person, 5 minutes after having conversation with them? And that's kind of connects with this. Like, you can tell where a person's thought process is or their mindset just based on how they see a thing. What are your thoughts about that, Lila?
I think that is so accurate. And the more time you give a person to speak, the more you understand about what their in look is.
That's true.
So there are people that we all run into who are always on the negative. It's never about the possibility of a thing. It's always, woe is me, but you can't do that. This person tried it and they didn't make it, this, that, and the other. And one of the things that I am being intentional about, because there's no try. We either do or we don't.
You doing it or you not.
One of the things I get to be intentional about is seeing the possibility in a thing. It isn't always about what hasn't been done. Is there a possibility? Can you create a possibility?
Right.
And so when people can speak into the possibility, that's huge for me. That means we can create. We can create together.
We're going somewhere.
Right. We're trying to. We're not stuck in this box.
Right.
If we're just talking about what hasn't been done or has been done, and nobody can do it better or nobody can do it differently or anything like that, when we can't talk about possibilities, you don't have any sort of possibility verbiage.
How do you evolve?
We can't really rock.
Where's the fortitude?
We could be acquainted.
Right.
I'm huge on that. And it's funny because as a caterer, my job is if a client asks for something, we get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
It may cost, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You get it done. I was on the flip end as a film producer when I was talking to a DP, and there was a certain scene I wanted to create. And he kept saying, oh, you can't do that. And I said, well, I mean, I saw in a Jamie Foxx movie where they had that in the background. Like cut and paste a green screen to make it look like they were in a foreign place.
Okay.
He's like, well, yeah, but they had lots of money behind them. I said, well, then don't say it can't be done.
Right.
Just say it costs more money.
Right.
I can deal with that. But when you say can't,
right.
and I have to cross-examine you to find out it can be done, you just get deterred by the amount.
You're trying to keep me in this box.
Right.
I actually, it's a call coming. I actually, I'm directing the show, by the way. I actually removed that person and found somebody else because I hate the word can't. I've always hated the word can't, even before I was spiritual, even before I was a Christian, really. The word can't was just a turnoff for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I just wasn't raised like that. Now, do you guys want to take calls?
Sure.
Or you want to keep the vibe flowing? We can save calls.
Can we leave them on?
Yeah.
I mean, do they wait?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to hear from people, but we're getting into this thing.
Let's get into it. Yeah, so keep flowing.
That was it.
Okay, but there is something that I wanted to say. Did you know that people can live in the same world, see the exact same things, i.e. world news, World Wide Web, have the same experiences, death, loss, divorce, like the same life experience, and have I'm talking about totally different opinions and interpretations. And both are right. Like, your in-look determines your outlook. What's going on inside of you, what you have experienced, what you've been exposed to, determines how you look at a thing. And I think this is pivotal because we want to shift that. If you haven't been getting results in your life, or let's just say the results that you desire, I mean, we all want to go higher. We all want to see better. Would you say I'm living my best life? If you want to live your best life, you have to make some adjustments. You have to evolve. You have to change. You got to grow. You got to be open to learning and teaching in order to do so. And some things have to change, but everything starts with a mindset.
Yes,
it all starts
right.
in your head.
Change your mindset, change your mindset, change your life.
That's
Shout out to Garen Jones for that. Change your mindset, change your life. And you just said something that's so huge for me, sis, is we are the sum of our experiences, right? So the way we interpret an event is absolutely out of our survival context.
It is.
The box, I call it survival context.
Yeah.
whatever that trauma was. It didn't even have to be traumatic.
Yeah.
But whatever the event, whatever the experience was, we become the sum of those experiences.
We definitely do.
It completely changes, colors our lens for everything. Two people can be sitting in the same room, hear the same words, the same music. Everything is happening in the same space and have completely different experiences of it based on their survival context.
Okay.
And that's what we get to shift. I get to get out of that story about what happened to me. I don't have to keep playing that tape over and over and over and over. But it takes me being intentional.
Say that.
It takes me being intentional about changing my mindset about a thing.
It's a decision.
It's a decision.
It's a decision.
It is.
And let me just say that that was one of the things that's why I give Lila so much props as far as she don't even know that she was the inspiration at the time. But for me writing the book, because like Nate said, he talked about freedom. Freedom, let me tell you, being bound, for somebody who's been bound for so long, freedom is a whole new thing. When I tell you I'm doing everything but flapping my wings right now, I feel so free. But to go back, with Lila being an inspiration with the book, I done lost my train of thought. That's a shame. 50 just hit me. I just had a brain fart.
That's all right.
What were you saying?
I was saying our survival concept.
Oh, that's
a
what
decision.
it was. That's what it was. I have been in a state of mishandled and abused and so forth for many, many years. Repeat trauma, back to back to back. We will not get into that because I'm no longer in that space. But I will tell you this. Everything I saw, everything I did, every interpersonal relationship, friendship was handled through that pain.
Of course.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought I was normal.
Right.
It takes someone healthy on the outside who has a healthy relationships, loving relationships, exposure, because I've been in a bubble, has exposure to actually see and for you to hear them speak and conduct their lives in such a way that you would say, something ain't right. And it was through extensive therapy. I'm not ashamed to say it now because I'm free, but it was through extensive personal counseling, family counseling, for me to see things differently. I mean, people are stuck, and I know some of you guys are stuck. That's why some people can't talk about their past. And even when I brought up the abuse thing, that's a huge phenomenon.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about it because they still in it.
Yeah.
Some way, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, they still stuck.
Yeah, they're in the story.
Yeah, still in the
They're still in
story.
the story.
But some real stuck doesn't even know they're stuck.
Yeah,
Some don't know they're stuck.
And what you just said reminded me of how sometimes we don't understand that there's a different reality that's available to us. So
say
especially,
that again, Nate.
especially
there's a different reality available to us.
And I mean, just imagine, if we believed every lie told about us, all the stereotypes of, you live in the hood, you're from the ghetto, you're poor, you're black, blah blah blah. If we believe, a lot of people do believe that.
I know they do.
And I always said that sometimes our growth, especially spiritual growth, it's not part of the normal pathway.
It really
you have
isn't.
to pull yourself
It really is.
off of the normal pathway. It means you have to take some time to be introspective.
Yeah.
You have to understand that there's something better out there. And then you start searching for it, and that's when you find it. And then you start finding, wow, there's people that's been living like this, living in this type of victory all this time.
Listen here.
But here's the funny part, is that some people don't even know that they think they're living already. They already think that they're living in that victory.
Yeah.
So they never even search for anything different
Right.
because they think that this is it.
Yep, they're in the box.
The power is sitting on that thing right there. I could tell you. It could bring me to tears, but I won't allow it to.
Yeah.
But when I tell you, last month for Thanksgiving, I wanted the theme to be "This Is Us," and I was going to bring in my closest, family members, and we were going to just talk about some of the pivotal things we've overcome, but how we see it different. And I'm not disappointed, but I'm disappointed. They started dropping off by the wayside. So I was saying in my mind, we are looking at this different, aren't we? But then I got to myself and I thought about it. I said, Tanisha, you're going to have to accept that everybody ain't there. Right. But it's a constant, every single day I live my life trying to learn and grow. And that's my expectation for the people that I interact with. And what I had to accept is that people have their own space and pace of doing things. And they may not be ready to do all that talking you ready to do. Maybe they're not ready to get to that level of acceptance. Maybe they like being where they are. I don't know. But I thought this was an opportune time to share with people that listen. Just because, like Nate said, I grew up on the east side. My family, we were dysfunctional, but I learned to not look at dysfunction as dysfunction. Actually, we were just a family. You know, people have families, and no family is perfect and no person is perfect. And what a family is different people, different personalities relating to one another. And sometimes that goes smoothly, and some people have these perfect families, these wonderful families, and sometimes that does not go so smoothly, where you have maturation that has to take place, some deliverance that has to take place, some change in your mindset that has to take place in order for you to have a healthier family. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm going to tell you straight up, my hashtag 2020 for Tanisha is like, I'm like Lila. I'm open to experiences with people who I didn't give a chance before, relationships that I didn't open myself up to now, so I can grow as an individual. That's where I'm at.
So when you say relationships, I mean, like you got some dudes? Like
you know what?
Off in the wings waiting. Because I know a couple that be like, Tanisha available?
Oh, Lord. Then we're going to go into a whole different perception. Okay. But I really do want to open up myself to dating. I ain't there yet, though, y'all.
All right. Okay.
I am in a bubble on that one.
We'll screen them first. I'll screen them.
Give it to me. Will you guys start screening them for me?
Yes, absolutely. We can vet.
Okay.
You said something, though, that I wanted to go back to, and that was this notion of perfect relationships and perfect families is a notion. Mm-hmm. There are no perfect people.
You know what?
There are no perfect
people. Work hard at projecting that thought.
That's what I wanted to get to. So go ahead, Nate. I'm not going to
because we all grew up in the same school. Yeah, we know, and you know where we are. Our area is very unique because you got kind of like the jungle next to Baldwin Hills, the Lamar Park. So we're like where poor and rich mixed together.
Right.
Not poor, but
ghetto,
we're like really. And so it's funny how we sometimes admire people because of where they lived. And we know these people.
Yeah.
Listen.
You know, they live up in the hills. And then you start finding out.
You like,
as an adult.
They living up in the hills too?
Right, but yeah. And you start finding, wait a minute, they had the same issues that we had over here at the bottom of the hill.
Okay, you know so you just took me right where I was trying to go. This image, this whole image that people project, like so many of us walk around with these masks. And I'm putting myself in there because I have a mask that I wear too. Like, but we have to be conscious of who is that image serving? Is it my authentic self?
That's rich.
And what do I get? What is the payoff for me walking around pushing that image? So
that's rich.
I just wanted to come back to that.
Well, now that was worked against me. It really
works against us a lot. Yeah.
But do you think that's part of maybe just being kids and being adolescents and not learning how to just be open and be transparent? It's like,
I do, but I think it happens we carry that into our adult life.
We do.
Yeah.
And there's so much fear attached to that.
Yes.
Fear of acceptance because everybody wants to be accepted. And one of the biggest things that I've learned and changed my perception about is I never, ever fit in. I didn't fit in. I was either too ghetto to be bougie, too bougie to be ghetto, too smart to be with the kids that weren't so smart, and not smart enough to be with
true people, like all the smart people hanging out.
Right.
I think I was the only dude in AP English with the probation officer in high school.
But I never fit in. But here's where my perception changed. That is the bomb. I never fit in, but I have finally at 50, I understand that the value in never fitting in.
Your uniqueness.
I understand the value of never fitting in. So now I don't want to fit in because you can't fit in and stand out at the same time.
Right.
That's a word.
Man, I finally accepted that's not your space.
Mm-mm. But you know what's funny? I think fitting in is just a notion. I think as a kid, we think that's it. Because one thing I learned, and it's funny, I wanted to speak on this today, but I didn't know how it was going to segue.
Let's go.
Is that and I learned this, can I be real?
Yeah.
Of course we can. I learned this one time. I was having a smokeout session with my boys and a couple, just friends.
Yeah.
And, I'm high. And I just started respecting people in their individual space. I looked around the room and I'm like, I love them. Mm-hmm. And they're different, but and all of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden this magic it felt in the, you feel something in the room. It's like a pull. Mm-hmm. because I learned how to just accept people for who they are in their space, including myself.
Yeah.
And made me, understand that I deserve my space.
Yes.
And my respect. I give them theirs. I give them theirs. And everybody's different. And it's okay. And it's the differences of all of us that make the room beautiful.
Right.
Versus us trying to think that everybody's this way. And if we're not that way, then we're the freaks.
Unacceptable. Right.
But
Right.
like I said, so being accepted is just a notion.
It's a notion.
That's good.
Because, just imagine if all kids as early as 12 and 13, like when you first enter middle school, understood that it's okay for everybody to be different. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Individual.
And
And
no such thing as weirdos.
And the beauty of it is
Just
that
different.
all of you guys are different.
Yeah.
All coming together
Yeah.
and respecting each other.
Yeah.
Like that's the beauty of
Yeah.
really what life is.
Yeah, and
But
we can't
imagine if
throw
catch
around
that early.
terms like
Yeah.
lame and kind of like biased, judgmental terms. I do it. I'm not going to say I don't do it, but we shouldn't do it because there is no such thing. It's just people are who they are.
Right.
People are who they are, and they might be different than what we consider normal, but they are who they are. To speak to, I feel so heavy right now. I feel heavy
I feel
and
bad for
liberated
that
at
caller.
the same
All
time.
right, caller, be
No, I
patient
wonder
with
what
us.
that call.
Oh,
Is the
but
caller
wanna take-
holding?
Do you want to take the caller? Huh?
See?
He hung up. Okay,
Oh, see,
that's
that's
kind of good
life and lessons.
because we flowing. Like I feel a vibe right now.
I wanna
So
talk.
I had a question
the
for you
person.
guys.
Okay.
And the question is, what are some of the pivotal life experiences, situations, or circumstances that you've changed your perspective about in order to get results, seize an opportunity, or live a happier, healthier life?
I'm gonna jump right on in.
Okay.
The self-worth conversation that I was having with myself for years. And so it's really interesting because people see you a certain way, experience you a certain way. And I should just say, from a place of I have experienced me a certain way, have thought a certain thing about me based on the image that I project. She's put together.
Yeah.
She's her own person.
Yeah.
She's individual.
Yeah.
And so there's a confidence that comes with that. I walked in image for a long,
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Until I got to a place of true self-worth and acceptance of myself. So when I got to a place where I was like, I deserve to be in the room. I deserve
that's
to
good.
be the head of this organization. I deserve and I'm worthy of sitting in a room of studio executives and talking about inclusion. I am worth that. Because for a long time I was like, how did I get here? How am I in the room? What am I going to say to these people? And so getting in a place where I actually, my self-worth was in alignment with how people were experiencing me was super powerful. And that's been recent. That's been in
You gotta share how that
2019. I started doing some personal development work.
That's where it starts.
That's
working on you.
It really
you got to do the
does.
work.
When you really, I am an avid reader and self-help books, and I've been in therapy, and I've done all of those kinds of works and work and daddy issues and that kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I've touched on a lot of that, but when
Yeah.
I really cut myself open and said, that's an image conversation. Your ego leads, and listen. And I have real strong energy. I've misused it for years. Walk in the room. If I'm high, the room is high.
Yeah.
If my energy is up, the room is
Yeah.
up. If I come in a dark cloud, the room is shut down.
Wow.
Understanding that that's a misuse of my power, but I did it. I manipulated that kind of way. And who is that serving? That's serving the low self-esteem, low worth.
I was just going to say, dumbing it down.
Right? So it was when I started doing some real personal development in the room 5 days, all day.
It's commitment.
Committed to that thing and wasn't attached to what the outlook, wasn't attached to the end result. I just knew I needed to go through some of my context, my survival context stuff.
Wow.
And leave it behind. So for me, it was really coming into a place this year where I was like, yeah. And this is not an image conversation. This is a self-worth conversation. I am worthy
that's
of what I have been blessed with. The Creator makes no mistakes. He has brought me in front of amazing, powerful men, and I get to step in my power and understand that I'm worthy of where I am and where I'm going. So really for me, it was making a decision. Someone invited me to do some work. And I was like, what do I have to be coached about? Like having an ego image conversation. Right? We're talking about coachable. Coached. What I need to be coached about on. When I surrendered to that thing, though, that was just a piece of it. I mean, obviously, I've been on a spiritual journey, and I've grown up in the church. That's how we know each other that way. But really doing some self-evaluation and some work on myself has been really, really powerful in understanding that I am worthy. I am enough just as I am. As my friends call them, my Afrocentric boho shit.
Hey, Black Girl Magic.
Get ups and all of they be like, what kind of get up she gonna have today? Whatever get up it is, it's Lila.
That's
it's authentically
up.
me.
That's what's up. Man.
Yeah.
That is so powerful, Lila. And you know what? I was just thinking about doing the work. What event happened to make you say, I can't do Lila the way I've been doing Lila up until now? I gotta go a step further. I need to do more. How did you get to that? What was it an event? Was it I don't know. What happened?
There were several events.
Okay.
And so 2018 and 2019 have been personally a lot of things happening. I'm a caregiver for an aunt with dementia. Shout out to the caregivers out there. If you the burden and awesome privilege of being a caregiver to someone is so significant. So I was being faced with some of that, and my aunt's husband passed away, and so working through those kind of things were in turmoil at my job. There was a lot of things that were happening to me at once. Actually, go back to 2017 when my father passed away. So there were lots of things that were happening. Bam, 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 bam. I was like, I gotta figure something else out to sort some things out in my life to feel better. Yeah. I wasn't acting out. I wasn't like having breakdowns necessarily, like what we think a breakdown looks like. Yeah. But I felt like I was on the verge of it.
Yeah. You got the edge of yourself.
Yeah.
You can get to the edge of yourself.
I was at the edge of myself.
You can get to the edge of yourself.
I was like, I need to try a new thing. I really that's where I was.
Wow.
Yeah.
You hear that, audience? Sometimes you do have to make an intentional decision to pivot and go in another direction. Obviously, if that direction just seems to be dark, if it gets too heavy, if it causes you to lose your way, like there's always another way and another way to look at things. So hats off to you, sis. Like your life is going to take off into a new dimension right now. Like literally, because just because you've changed, your mind. Like you said, change your mind, change your life. So when you start changing your mind and doing the self-work, you can almost look for a new dimension of change. And you do have to be open to the possibilities of that, because you don't know what that looks like. All you know is what happened back then and in this moment. That's all you got is back then and in this moment. You really have to be open, though, if you really want greatness and if you want to get to the best version of Lila.
And I'm letting Nate jump in here, but I always want to be, I am just, my spirit won't let me stay in the same place.
Girl.
Right.
That's just,
not who I am.
That, you know what I'm saying? My spirit is like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. That's who I am too.
That's what it is for me.
On
really.
to the next.
What else?
Yes.
It's got to be something else.
Yes.
That's not feeding this ego, but what's feeding my spirit.
Yes.
And so for me, that's next level. What's next level? What's next level? That's kind of my drive.
That's rich. What say ye?
Wow. Mine, it was similar, where it was so many different things that led to different levels of that type of thing. But one particular one that stands out was, and it was spiritual, but it didn't happen in church.
Okay.
And
that's a word.
I told you part of it. You know, I had an epiphany, you know, when I was locked up at Wayside.
Yeah.
You know, laying on the bunk.
That's so hard to believe.
55.
Nate was locked up in Wayside. Let's stop there.
I mean, that's a story in itself.
Yeah, right.
But that led me to I had one of those epiphanies. I was one of those typical, you know, You come out of jail, and all of a sudden, you get spiritual.
Right.
But my spiritual was different. I didn't go to church.
Yeah.
It took me years to finally step into a church. But I started meditating. And I started praying. And I smoke and pray, meditate. I did my thing.
Yeah.
But because I was sincere about it, it led to some real breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And the breakthroughs were happening, gradually. Sometimes they were internal, that didn't show on the outside. But once after some years of that, I really started realizing, I guess, the reality of how real the Spirit of God was for me. So what happened for me is I decided I was going to start dedicating my work, to God. And what that meant for me was that I don't do things for people to see now. I do it because I have an audience of one.
That's rich.
But what it did, it changed my behind closed doors lifestyle. And that manifested out in the public. And even when I went to work, I did my work as though God was watching. My bosses would be nowhere around. But because I did it to God, I started getting promotions.
Listen.
I'm talking about within 2 months of being there, they said, you're going to be the next manager. And it was the group home right here on Crenshaw and 48th that used to have the murals with Malcolm X on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And, promoted me above people that were there 12 years, master's degrees, and it was decided because I already decided I'm doing this for God.
Yeah.
My lifestyle behind, closed doors, I started having this dedication I would do, to God and make sure just cleaning up, just stuff I want to do just for that one audience, of God. It changed my walk, my speech out in public. It changed everything, and it made image not be important anymore.
That's good.
And for somebody like me, who image was everything, not just growing up in the hood, but me, I was, best dressed. I was a hustler.
Yes, you were.
And to put all that stuff aside and make that become insignificant now for a real reason. And now I have to, and I put my pride down. I had to catch the bus to work and catch the bus with my security uniform on Crenshaw. That meant nothing to me anymore. I was like, I can do this and hold my head up because I realized that my dignity or my swag now came from God. And because I knew I put in the work, and I couldn't even trick myself in that. If I wasn't prayed up, if I didn't read, if I didn't, if I wasn't walking right, I couldn't even have that same boldness out in the public.
Look at that.
Everything came from just basically me making my audience of one my only person I needed to please anymore. And
That's
it just
so
manifested in front of people.
Listen, that's a word, though, Nate.
I'm telling you.
Listen, setting that ego aside, you just said something that's so huge, though. You couldn't even walk in the same boldness when your work wasn't in honor to him.
That's rich.
Because don't nothing else matter.
Nothing else really matters.
How they experience me, that's not what it's about, right? It's about I'm honoring the Creator in everything that I do. Right. And ultimately, that's what we are created to do.
Yes. And how much different would our lives be if we all
It does pay off.
I didn't know it was going to pay off. I didn't know it was going to pay off.
Because it came from your spirit.
Exactly. So when I was like, oh, this stuff works.
Wow.
This is it. I can preach this.
Right. Yeah. That's a tool. Yeah. And man, so we do want to give our audience some tools.
Okay.
So with the things that you've done in your life to bring you to this place of fortitude is just, I'm speechless right now. I always knew who you guys were, and they've always been special to me. I have this special fondness and love for both of them. But to hear them open up to talk about this didn't just happen overnight. They weren't born these people. Well, maybe they were, but didn't know they were born these people until they started doing the work. And the work is necessary. Like, you can't just sit around and wait for change to happen. You got to make it happen. Like, you have to consciously make a decision, be intentional. And it's not intentional for New Year's, like New Year, new me.
No.
Like, this literally has to frame your mindset. Like, every day I'm working on me.
Yeah.
And people who don't salute that and celebrate that with you, they really don't deserve to go. They really don't deserve to go. So here's some tools that will help you change your perspective. And I need you guys to chime in if you want to add to it, take away from it, whatever. Okay. So to change your perspective. So we're talking about perspective because the way you see a thing really determines the outcome of it. You can look at the negative things in your past as, oh my God, I just had the worst upbringing. I shouldn't have this because this happened. You know, you can make excuses for it if you like, or you can do something about it like Lila did, like doing the work. personal work. So if you want to change your perspective and see your life pivot, for lack of better words, stop thinking in terms of should. What do you think about that?
Should, as in like should have, like looking
Shoulda,
back.
coulda, yeah.
Oh,
Should. And but rather I will. I will is intentional, right?
Okay.
You with me?
I'm with
you
you.
vibing?
I'm
Okay.
vibing. I have something.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
Yeah, but come on.
Okay. And then you want to consider someone else's perspective. Yes, you can have an idea about a thing and be convicted in your idea about a thing, but please consider that there is another way. There is another answer. There is another solution and just a different twist on how to look at that thing. Think of the bigger picture. Like I said earlier, I was in a bubble for many years because that felt comfortable to me. That's what I was used to. I didn't want to stretch myself. I didn't want to challenge myself. It was just like, this is working. But think of the bigger picture. Like Lila said, what do you like? Is this rewarding you or anybody else? Or are you going to just stay stuck? Think of the grand scheme of things. Think outside of the box. Have you decided to actually use the gifts that you've been getting? I mean, the gifts that you have in a way that will change somebody else's life. Are you there yet? Show gratitude. Gratitude enhances your appreciation for life and people. Put down smile. Smile is training your body to be happy and posturing it. It's something that has to be intentional. Like you have to really, because it's so easy to get caught in your mindset and walk around. I have resting. What is it? RBF? Yeah, it's really not intentional. It's just that my mind may be somewhere, my thoughts may be afar off. I may be strategizing. I may be caught up in the moment. I don't know. I literally have to.
One time because somebody was like, "What the heck you looking at me?
Right.
Looking at my face like that for?" And this like in 9th grade because my face was always resting in that. Mad dog.
Yeah.
My own mama was like, "What you looking at me like that for?" I'm like, "Mom."
Yeah, you have to be intentional with the smile because smile. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it, but I will say that a smile can be therapeutic and it's also ministry for people. It actually lets people see love through your expression. Think of the bigger picture. Show gratitude. Smile. Help others. Like we don't like to. What happened to the culture of helping people?
I can't answer that.
We don't like to help people anymore. So you have somebody like Nate. This is another reason why he really, I admire him for this. So you got a guy who's over here with a whole family, a whole family, but he stretches his mind to want to help and change people. He don't even know
the world.
Like, yeah, I'm talking about the other side of the world. That really ain't your business.
Right.
You know, you want to go over there. Yeah, they are now.
Yeah.
You literally have to. It takes a certain level of connection with the creator, like you said, and a connection with self to get outside of, like you said, ego and say, I got to do more. I want to do more. If you be true to yourself, everybody, there's something in you that is hungering for more, but you got to move on it. You know what I'm saying? You got to make a move. And then daily confessions and affirmation. That just comes from my belief systems. I believe that you say it until you see it. Period. If you know you have a vision, speak the vision.
Yeah.
Right. Put words to it, right? Doesn't scripture support that?
Yes.
And what would you guys add to those tools about changing your mind?
I think it's really important to, and this is a huge part of the work that I do on myself, but it's really important to get out of just the doing and surrender to the being. So,
Lila, hold on. You got to say that again. This is powerful.
So
give an example.
I'm going to, and you touched on it. Get out of the doing, the working, the moving, the building. What are my ways of being that support change and help and safe space and all of that? What are my ways of being? So vulnerable, authentic, kind, loving, nurturing, interruptive, all of those ways of being. There's a way to be lovingly interruptive. My authenticity supports someone else speaking in their truth. my kindness supports you being kind to someone else. Does that make sense, Nate? So my ways of being, and it's a practice that doesn't happen overnight. You don't just go from how you've lived your life, all of your life, into being a new thing.
That's right.
So you do have to work on the ways of being, but we got to get out of the doing. I did that, so you ought to be grateful for that. But did you do it lovingly?
Right.
What was your way of being when you did the thing? So that's what I would add, is we get to work on our ways of being to support the world that we want to live in.
I think that's contagious too.
It is, right?
I think when you do that, you give other people in the room permission to do the same thing.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes.
That's so good.
I kind of adopted Nelson Mandela.
What would you say to that, Nate? What kind of tools to change your mind?
I would say that we have to understand that the mind really is infinite. That we live our life really only using a fraction of our minds.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go scriptural, but don't ask me to quote it because I'm just not that dude. But so anything God can do exceedingly and abundantly beyond what you ask or think. But watch this, according to the power that's working in you.
It's already in.
So that means you're doing it, but it's Him that's replenishing you with more capacity.
Right.
That means we have infinite capacity.
Yes.
Ooh, that's good.
And it said beyond what you ask or think. So if you can ask it, that means that there's something beyond that.
Yes.
And if you can think
that's
it,
good.
there's something beyond that. So let's just start with, if you can ask, let's talk about the things you ask or think. That means that they're doable because you wouldn't even be able to think it.
Yeah.
And then it's doable because it's at the power working in you. So it's still God working in you, but it's you doing it.
Right.
That means it's a revolving door, revolving system. It's like, I can think of something. Let me think of something bigger. I can do that. Let me think of something bigger. I can do that.
Come on,
That
Nate.
means that there's nothing that we can't accomplish.
Come on, Nate.
Right.
And he does say that. Doesn't he say that in Philippians?
But look, you just brought it back to how we started, the possibilities.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
We get to look into the possibilities beyond what we can think. What is possible beyond that?
Right.
That's rich.
Right. But we have to know that there's something else.
Yeah.
And we have to want something. It's like you
gotta
said,
want it.
when your spirit starts feeling like, I want more.
What else? Yeah.
Right, right. If you don't think there's something else, you won't want anything.
You won't.
You'll be satisfied. So I think I think we do ourselves a disservice. I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people were made to believe that this is it. And this is all you can have. This is all you can ever be based on somebody else's perception of you or perception of your capabilities.
Yeah.
I want to say this. So whatever those things are, those things that nag at your spirit, those ideas that you have that keep coming, the same one that keeps coming, the same two that keep coming, those are ideas to move on.
Yes.
Those are things to move on. When I first started Curvy Girls and Curls, I sat back when I first cut my hair off to go natural.
Yeah.
And I started wearing head wraps and stuff, right? People were like, well, where are the tutorials? Where do you? I was like, I don't know how to do all of that.
Right.
Until I did it. Because it started nagging at me, and I was like, it's people out here making all this money on YouTube, and that wasn't the driving force. But I'm like, my voice, there's a market, and the curvy girl with curls, I'm not seeing.
Right.
That thing nagged at me and nagged at me and nagged at me. I had to do something.
I would
about
almost bet that if you didn't do it, somebody else would have did it, and you would have saw it out.
Exactly. I've been thinking about that.
Because if an idea comes, watch this. These ideas sometimes are universal. They're up for grabs for whoever.
Right.
Oh,
and
say that,
that's
Nate.
why I want to put it out there to anybody watching, listening.
Say that.
Those ideas are for you to execute on. Don't sit at home
on it.
and watch the commercial come on that somebody else did it.
Wow, that's
God
powerful.
gave it to you.
That's powerful. And okay, what will you say to the person? And we got to do this. What do you say to the person who is stuck?
I'm sorry we didn't take your call. Please, please call back again. We promise we'll answer.
No, Nate, come on. Nate.
That was her. She was stuck. Call back.
Please call back. What do you say to the person who has been stuck? Like this is working for them. What's wrong with how I'm living? Why do I need to do that? I'm good.
Because just as Nate said, if you are doing a thing, by the power that's already in you, there's something even more than that. There's
Don't you want
something
more?
even more.
Don't you want more?
Everything starts with a little seed of a thought.
Exceeding abundance.
But if a person really, really says they're good, it depends on my relationship with them.
Okay.
If I had a deep, deep relationship, I might ask them, well, what do you define good? Because
that's good.
If you define it just based on money,
That's good.
There's rich people that get cancer.
Yes.
Listen.
I mean, like I said, rich people commit suicide more than poor people do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so what is the goal? What do you call good?
Right.
I mean, we walk in a healing power. There's supernatural power we can use. Poor people can do that.
Right. Right.
So there's some poor people that got something at their
yes,
fingertips
rich
that
in
rich
spirit.
people don't even have.
Oh, man.
So it depends on what you define as good.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who I meet at the surface, or if I'm in whatever situation where we get to even have that conversation, if they really say they're good,
You accept
I might
that?
just leave it alone. If it's somebody I don't have to interact with.
Yeah.
Now, I have been that, I won't say that Bible thumper, because I've never been a Bible thumper, but I have been when I felt like I had a burden to people. I would keep probing at them, like, if you're good, then why is this? Or,
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? Now that I, I'm older, and that I have enough people who want what I have to offer in wisdom, or anointing, or whatever the counsel.
All that.
Since I have enough people that want that, honestly, and it's not gonna be politically correct, I don't have time for the people who are good.
what?
If you're already good, I don't. I mean,
If you're good, you're good.
right. But I always leave it open, and I've done this before. I said, I've given cards.
Okay.
I said, if you decide that you're
That you
not
are?
good,
Okay.
even though I never said
Okay,
it like
that's
that,
good.
but it's like,
Yeah.
here, I'm available.
Yeah.
And I've done that, and it worked.
That's good.
It has worked.
Yeah.
I've even done it and prayed under my breath, like, okay, God, whatever spirit's holding them back, I've
Yeah.
done that, and
Yeah.
it worked. So at some point, I just have to, because I can't, as much as I want to help everybody and I want to be there for everybody,
Yeah.
everybody doesn't have an ear, and I don't have a captive audience with everybody to hold them still and make them listen. So all I have is that moment.
Yeah.
And I give them as much as they can in that moment. And sometimes I'll challenge them. I'll say, you know what? Why don't you just try this?
That's good.
Maybe go pray on this.
Sometimes
Go meditate
people
this.
need that little.
And that way the answer won't be from me. It'll be coming from you, from the God within you. And then you'll trust it.
Right.
And then, we can talk later after
They
that.
just need the invitation.
Sometimes. So, so it's different approaches. I don't have any one cookie cutter approach for somebody who says they're good. But if they really are good, I mean, leave them alone.
So be it.
Let them be it, yeah.
In the world that we're living in now, the leadership we have in our administration, you got the human trafficking with thousands and thousands of black women just coming up missing.
Right.
Ain't nobody saying nothing. Ain't nobody doing
Right,
nothing.
right.
We facing maybe financial collapse. How important is it to change your mind?
It's crucial.
It's crucial. That's what I needed you to say. I mean, I really don't think that, we're doing this at the end of the year, and it does seem timely for the New Year, New Me thing. But I'm telling you, it's vital.
Yeah.
If you're gonna survive what we're about to face, whatever is coming, like, you got to get your mind right.
Yes.
Like, for real.
Yeah.
And if what's been working for you hasn't gotten any results, and when I say results, it doesn't necessarily have to be tangible. And sometimes it could be psychological.
Yeah.
Like, people are killing themselves now more than ever. So if you don't feel like psychologically you managing things, you got to find a different approach. You got to make the decision to move different, seek help, open your mouth and say, you know what, I think I have some mental illness going on. You got to get the audacity to change. And things are getting so, I'm saying rickety for lack of better words, but it's getting so, with so many uncertainties that if you don't stand on something, and all I got to stand on is God. I saw somebody post this, and this has been my mantra. I'm just out here trusting God.
Right.
Like, seriously. I don't have anything else that I'm leaning on. Straight up. And actually, for me, last year, I challenged myself this time last year that I was being kind of, let me see, how do you say it? You might have a word for it. It might be legalistic. I don't know the word, but I made up in my mind that I read in the Bible that miracles happen when people prayed for an hour. I'm going to just try that. I'm going to just try to dedicate myself. I spend way more time in that working this thumb out on Facebook.
Right.
Spend way more time in there watching reality shows, having, frivolous conversation. I'm going to just try to pray for an hour. And when I tell you it transformed my whole life, I'm talking about everything I see and do and feel has been transformed from the power of prayer. I'm a straight up say, I've been a Christian for years, been following God for years, been in the church for years, but I never knew the magnitude. Like, you can pray for life-changing things, miracles, and they can happen. Yeah. But you got to know they can happen. And I think the reason I brought that up is because we're facing times where your mind has to even change about that. And I'm not church girl ain't going to go too spiritual on you, but you're going to need a faith. You're going to need something, a higher power. I'm trying to stay politically correct, but you're going to need some substance, something that's real to hold on to. And you're going to really need to use your thought processes to navigate in this next season that we're in. You believe that's true?
I do.
Man, we have been vibing, okay? The vibe is thick in here. We have just a couple minutes left. Would you guys like to share a book that would speak to what we're talking about? Mine would be the 7 qualities of highly effective people.
Yes.
Okay. You got anything, Nate? Nate gonna text me when I ask him. Nate said the Bible.
I know. I was hoping, don't make me bring it, because then you're going to expose the fact that I be...
But that's not far-fetched, though. I mean... What about you?
Well, that was not really... I mean...
That wasn't it?
I added LOL.
That was what?
I added
LOL.
you did.
You did.
Yeah. So that means that I was going to bring something else besides the Bible. What really transformed me, was instrumental for me, was how to win friends and influence people.
Oh, that's actually on my list.
Is it?
Yes. Is it?
Yeah,
Yes.
my dad gave me that book.
I never heard of that book.
Wow, it's by Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
I hardly ever remember Arthur's. I remember that one. And some things that really stood out for me was you make people it's basically dealing with corporate America, teaching people how to be go-getters in corporate America. That was the context of how the book was given to me. Okay. But there's so much help in that book.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's other books significantly, but that's the one that immediately popped in my head. But one thing that stood out was when you make people gravitate towards you when you make them feel important. Couple examples. When you address them by their name, Tanisha. And Lila, because everybody's name is music to their own ears. So when you address them, you say their name, and it sparks them up. Remember their birth dates. I know yours is February 13th, right? February 11th, 7th, February 7th. 6th. I was right month. I know you in like late July, early August.
Yeah. Like wow, Nate, that's good.
It's in the practice I've been doing.
That's good.
Because it makes people realize that they matter. They matter to you.
That's so good.
Ask about their family. Know about their family. Even in the business environment, know who they're married to.
I
what
need
their
to
kids
work
are,
on that.
Things
I
like
really
that.
need to work on that.
And one thing it was talking about was the dress to impress. There's certain reason why they wear certain colors in corporate America. The confidence colors, the neutral colors, the comforting colors. And when you show up a certain way, it makes the people there feel important because it makes them say, wow, they thought enough of us to change their clothes and show up.
That's good.
And things like that really influence your business decisions or getting that contract or not getting that contract. It's like a job interview,
That's
when
good.
you show. So certain things like that, within that kind of stood out to me.
That was rich.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to read that book.
That's a good one.
I probably should have read it years ago, but yeah. What about you, sis?
Mine is The Four Agreements. Don Miguel Ruiz. Am I saying that right, Tribe? The Four Agreements. Take nothing. I'm not going to get these in order. Take nothing personal. Do your best. Always be your word. I always forget the fourth one. But the Four Agreements.
Okay. That's good.
The Four Agreements.
That's good. So you do have some tools to start your year out with a changed mind. Listen, I like I said, I'm so full right now. I'm so happy. This is history.
Yeah.
This is history right now. And I hope there was something from this broadcast that will change your mind and change your life. You can watch it as many times as you like. Go to Vibe of the Tribe, or you can go to their individual pages. I still say go purchase something on Curvy Girls with Curls. Curvy Girls and Curls. And Nate is a caterer and filmmaker. He has his own website.
We're at todaycatering.com.
Today Catering.
We do all type of events, and we got our special, ice cream for adults.
Ooh, which is the bomb.
But that's something you order on the side.
Yeah, that's the bomb.
As far as film, and this is a new arena for me that I'm excited about, and so I have one film under my belt, a short film entitled Silent Whisper, and it's on our YouTube page, which is
check it out.
Jaws World Productions.
Yeah, Jaws World Productions. One more time, the title.
Silent Whisper.
Silent Whisper. And it was very, very good.
Just one of many.
One of many. So this has been really rich. Next year, I do have some things on the works. I won't set you up for any of it right now, but please stay tuned. And I wish you a happy New Year. This was our final podcast of the Vibe of the Tribe. Woo!